from my real father. Still chasing these dreams. The smoking man's nothing what it seems. Heart of a line, there's no one that can compete. They tell me, see you
Oh
at the top.
God, oh God, oh God. We can let it ride all goddamn day. That joint is so fire. What's good, y'all? J Boogie in full effect mode. Bun down is the sound. You know how we do. This is the Lounge Presents on Twitch, and we've got Len Bowen in the lounge space today. What up, Doe?
What's good? What's cracking? How
Solid
you
man. How you
feeling?
feeling?
I'm
I
good,
mean,
man. How are you?
I finally get to ask you all the things I was trying not to ask you on Thursday.
Here we go. Here we go. Looking
For
forward to it, man.
I kept leaning over, like, no, man, you ask him now. You're not gonna be able to. And even with Wayne, I'm like, no, don't ask Wayne either, man. Just ask him when it's time. So we have
Yeah,
a brand new release coming from you called Nothing for Granted.
correct. June 30th, nothing for granted. It's going down. My first LP. I've dropped a bunch of EPs prior to this, and I'm so glad I made it to this point. Very
Yes,
excited.
man. Yes, man. And I'm gonna start off by saying, after listening to the album in its entirety, good God, man, what the fuck were you and Tough Dumpling smoking to make this happen?
Thank you. You know what? I just really had to live up to the level of production that he was providing me. I was like, man, I can't do anything but do justice over all of these beats, man, because he gave me nothing but like heat, lava. So it made me rise to the occasion. Pause. You know what I mean? For just bringing out the best in me, you know? And I did my absolute best to just follow through on every single record you hear.
And it's not like it's the first time you two work together, but it is the first time you work together on the full project.
Correct. No, we've been working together since my first solo EP.
Is
Long
there?
story short, like over a decade ago, he did he did a track that had myself, DL Incognito, and himself on there called The Come Up.
Yeah.
And he's even prior to that with the Shades. So
Yep.
I've been working with him for a minute. Yeah.
So it made it, like, the first question I'm going to ask you is, what was it that told you that now was the time for you to work on a full project together?
Well, what happened was, we'd keep in touch. There'd be lapses where we wouldn't talk for a long time, but I'd always check in, see what he had in the vault. And he had this one beat. It was the beat for $1 Million Baby. And I loved the beat.
Hey,
But at the
yeah,
time, it was like, you know, um, financially, I couldn't afford the beat. You know what
yeah,
I mean?
that's fair. Yeah,
So,
I
so
mean,
I
it's
was,
fair. Yeah.
yeah, I've been working for how many years on a humble budget. I'm not gonna front like I'm made of money, but fortunately, when I was ready to go, the beat was still available, and
Mm,
the track just turned out so nice. And
yeah.
some other things started to develop for me. Like I met Wayne, a couple years ago, and yeah, man, things just started rolling with the management and all the other support. And fourth quarter, Anthony had my back since the beginning of the pandemic, so I was in a position where I could cop that beat plus a few more. And I was looking for consistency across the board with this project, as far as the production, the mix, the master, just everything. I didn't want to, when you're working on a project as an artist, the more hands touch it, and you're, sending files back and forth and what have you, it gets hard to level things out.
Yeah.
So I saw how, friends and fellow artists projects were turning out when they used one producer and everything was consistent across the board. And I just figured, you know what, for the sake of that, for the sake of just a cohesive project, let me rock with Collision. Um, and the rapport was there, and he had so much heat. It just made sense.
Okay, I want to touch on a couple things, but before we do, because you brought up $1 Million Baby, let's just like play a snippet, just so people have an idea of what we're talking about here.
Let's do it.
This is a dope beat. If you take time to grow, you will reap the seeds you sow. Search within and you will find it will give you peace of mind. Oh, $1 Million Baby, don't run nowhere. Yeah, $1 Million Baby, don't you?
Okay, now the first thing about this joint is, I'll just be straight. This is not a joint I would expect to hear you on.
Nah, and that's another thing. I was just trying to, step outside of the box, just have no ceilings on the project, and every record is a life of its own. So yeah, when a lot of people heard it at first, they were like, "Yeah, I'm not used to hearing Len rock over something like this, especially after Flow Nostalgic and the follow up
Mm-hmm.
FM2."
Mm-hmm.
People are,
Mm-hmm.
people got accustomed to hear me over heavy samples
Yep.
and
Yep.
and
Yep.
and stuff like that. So yeah, it was a change, but I felt so good and confident in what, again, Collision, aka Tough Dumpling, was bringing to the table. I was like, let's go. I'm not looking back.
And we that easily takes us to the next thing I wanted to talk about this record, about Nothing for Granted. After listening to it front to back, and listening to it in an environment where it's booming. You know what I'm saying? It's not just in the headphones, it's not just in the whip, or it's even not just even in the home studio. It's actually, in a venue and it's booming. So you're getting the full punch, right?
Right.
There is I want to preface this by saying, dog, from time, I've always dug what you've done. You know that. But the growth that you show on this project is, guy,
Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate it.
guy.
That's
Oh my
and
god.
and that was the goal. That was what I was trying to accomplish. Just showing people, on my first full length, um, giving them something where you could clearly distinguish from my prior work, where I'm at, with the writing, with the production, with the deliveries, the flows, the content, just everything across the board. I wanted it to be very clear, this is a full length album and it's not a joke. It's not a game.
Oh,
It's
for
on a
real.
level. Yeah.
Was this all done during one specific time frame, or was this over, a longer period of time, as sometimes happens with projects?
It was done over a longer period of time because what happened was I was working on this project, and my manager Wayne was like, you know what? In the meantime, while you're working on this, we don't want you to completely, disappear, because nowadays it's about just staying out there and constantly
Yeah.
giving people content. It's like I was saying to someone the other day, I
Yes.
feel like I'm in a NASCAR race where you pull off for a sec, they're pulling off the wheel, putting the new wheels, cranking the shit, and then it's like, get back in the race. So he was like, you know what? So while I was working on Nothing for Granted, he was like, we got to drop something in between. So that's how Years in the Making came about. So
Okay.
I was working on two projects simultaneously,
Okay.
and I was worried about just creatively exhausting myself, but it didn't happen. It actually worked out, and I realized I had way more gas in the tank than I thought I did. So I gave people that, and the reaction, because $1 Million Baby is part of that EP. The reaction from that single was so strong. I was like, you know what? Let me throw it on, um, you know, the full length. So
And right about now, I want to send a salute to Ason Eastwood and Jordan, because they killed it on that joint too.
salute. Yo,
Whoo!
man, I've known Jordan for years, and every time I've reached out to him, and that's not even a lot of times, but he's always just been ready to work and ready to help me. So salute to him. Ace on Eastwood, uh, phenomenal talent, and it was the same thing. You know, when we connected, he just was like, let's work, let's work. So I can't thank those guys enough.
No doubt, no doubt.
Yeah,
There's another joint that I want to get to. I want to play a sample of because it's a joint that Wayne and I actually discussed at length on Thursday.
right.
Because again, growth, growth.
Growth.
She's so sweet, me say, she's so fine. You know me half I try get chillin' me on me line say. She's so sweet, me say, she's so fine. Man can't like say she buck a man try. Oh my, sweet little thing, no she run my mind. Oh my, maybe.
Yo, that's the anthem, dog. What? No,
Ocean, the beaches, man.
oh, that's the summer joy right there.
Right there. That's
For
what it is.
real. Andrew, salute.
Andrew O
Yeah,
in the lyrics did his thing.
so dope.
My brother, he showed up and showed
So
out.
dope.
You know
And
what
I
I
mean,
mean?
you guys got a chemistry. So I mean,
Yeah,
I kind of expect that to happen when you guys do shit together.
yeah. That song came together, to be honest, so easily. It wasn't that song was effortless. We got together. We had one writing session together. I remember when we met up, I was hungry, so I stopped somewhere. I grabbed some food. We had a drink or two. Started playing the beat in the background. Came up with the bridge, the hook. The second bridge. Filled in the blanks. The rest was history, man. We just recorded it after that. When we got in the studio, it was just one of those sessions where everything just fell into place. You know,
Nice, nice. And who sang background on that?
that's all Andrew O on the hook.
That was all him. Damn. Okay.
The leads, the
All
backs,
right.
everything in between.
No
That's him.
sleep.
And he refused to not drop bars on it. I was like, you know what, man? I got two verses, and we're doing we're going back and forth on the second bridge, and he's like, nah, man, nah. I gotta, I gotta drop some bars because I was afraid of the record being too long. But
Right, right.
I think it's just the right length,
Yeah.
and it doesn't. The hook is infectious. Yeah.
Yes. Oh
So
my God.
yeah, I think we did what we were trying to do on that one.
See, now when we talk about the hook, and this is something that Wayne alluded to last week, there's a lot of, sometimes in hip hop, especially those of us who've come up, you know, those of us who came up, from time, sometimes words get thrown around like accessible or, what have you, just that one word alone. And at the end of the day, the yeah, there was a time. I'm sure we're all guilty of it. There was a time where, like, you got to stay hard, you got to stay real, you got to stay
Yeah,
boom bap, yada yada yada, right? But we all
yeah,
grown now. Now that we're all grown and we know better,
yeah.
the type of growth that you show with tracks like that one, and with $1 million and Big Dreamer 2, which we're going to touch on in a second, that type of growth is crucial to developing as an artist.
Absolutely. I wasn't watching No Face when I was making this project. I'm a
Mhm.
grown man. I know what I'm capable of. I'm proud of what I can do, and I stand behind anything I do. So if anybody had a problem with the record, um, that's their problem, and it's none of
Yeah.
my business. You feel me?
Yeah.
Um, had to switch the style up. If niggas hate, let them hate. Watch the, you know what I
Yeah,
mean?
right.
Like, I could care less. I
Yeah,
knew it was a
exactly.
good record, and I wasn't gonna let anybody try to give me a complex. I'm a grown man when I'm making good music. That's
Exactly.
all it is.
Trust you ain't making this grown man no complex. You ain't touching him like that.
Right, right.
Trust.
Yeah.
Speaking of grown man ting though, and I know we can speak on this. We touched on this a lot last Thursday too. You know, especially with seeing everyone like having not seen anyone in a minute with grown man business and being an artist. You know, a lot one part of being a grown man is having relationships, and I think that when it comes to being artists, the unsung heroes in artists' lives are their significant others. How has your significant other been able to share you with the world?
I mean, I got a good support system. You know, my music drops. She's all over the place, you know, posting it. And, you know, she used to be a DJ herself.
Mm.
So she understands music. I can bounce ideas off her and get, you know, that female perspective
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
that is so important. That is
Yes. Oh
so
my God. Yes.
detrimental, and get an honest, just get the most unfiltered opinion on things. So when I'm making music, that's a crucial part of it. The you know, the female perspective.
You know, I'm really glad you said that because when it comes to marketing now, especially, and especially now that we have, you know, we have certain tools at our disposal that allow us to see metrics now,
Right.
whether it's through social media or even through platforms that carry your music. We now have the opportunity to look into to numbers and see things. And I think that if you're an artist, or even if no matter what you're doing, if you're putting something out there for consumption, if you see that your market is skewing in one general direction, and you see that you know you're lacking in some areas, to not want to get every area is nuts.
Definitely. No, I
Is
see where you're
nuts.
going with that. And yeah, to be honest, I'm always on that 60-40 range when it comes to that
Yeah.
because of the type of music that I predominantly make.
Yeah.
So my audience is like 60% male, 40% female. And to be
Yeah.
honest, I'd like it to be 50-50 or probably even higher
Right.
at this point
Oh
on
my
the
God.
female end.
Yes,
Um, you
man.
know, women are definitely more loyal in the long run and
Yep.
not fickle when it comes to
It's
you know, people they love and support and are a
They
fan
are
of.
loyal. No,
Yeah.
it's so true. Trust me, I feel your pains. I would love to broaden my demographic past what I'm getting right now. I was like, we were talking about it again on Thursday. Like, for some folks, it's easy to get the folks that you know dig your shit already,
Right. Exactly.
right? And you're never gonna turn your back on them. You're always gonna wanna keep them there with you, if especially if they've been down since day one. But the hardest thing about marketing music now, especially, is all those markets and all the demographics that you haven't quite hit yet. You might have touched on, you
Yeah.
know what I mean? But like I don't know obviously your metrics, but I'll just use my own as an example. This platform easily is 25 to 44.
Oh wow.
Easily, but it's immensely skewed male. I'm talking
Okay.
I'm talking 70-30
Wow.
skewed male. Yeah. And so I understand the importance of wanting to balance that out for
Yeah.
all the
Definitely.
reasons. And
Yeah.
then there's that, and then of course, and you know this, there's the crucial 18 to 24,
Right. Right.
which is the hardest market to get.
Yeah. Because they're listening to everything and anything. They're listening to
Yeah.
all of the good, all of the bad, all of the
Yep.
in between,
Yep.
and you know, the attention span is extremely short because there's so much out there to consume.
Yep.
But at the same time, with saying all of this, overall, I'm not going out of my way for, you know, for the males or the females. I'm just
Right.
making music, but the type of music
Exactly.
and the subject matter, and I think just from my my track record, my history, and I like to go in with the bars. So with that being said, there's a larger male audience, but
Yeah.
I do got a lot to say, directed towards the females as well. I like to talk to them as well on
Oh, for
tracks,
sure.
but you know, after a while you know it can get deliberate, and you don't want that to come across in your
Facts.
music too
Facts.
much. Yeah,
Dog, there's another joint I want to talk about, and we were just talking about it a little bit just before we went on air. It's Big Dreamer 2.
right.
And this is a joint that you featured YS and Fab on. We'll play a snippet first. Oh no, that's not it. Hold on. Let's do the right. There we are. Ooh. Ooh.
From the complex to the hills, mama. Used to do it for the thrills, mama. Had a man up in the house, but I long for no real father. Still chasing these dreams. The smoking man's nothing what it seems. Heart of a line, this knowing they can compete. They tell me see you at the top, but I know we'll never meet. Yeah. But I know we'll never meet, cause I know it's meant for me. His truth gon' set him free. These days he keeping real small circles around him. You know these frenemies be quick to let envy arouse him. Built the barriers for protection when you overlook the funniest character being built up while no one's looking. Crazy how the new me he don't recognize.
All right. I could let it ride, dog. I gotta cut it. Oh, I could let it ride. Man, this joint is fire on so many levels for so many reasons. First off, we've got cross-generational collab
Right.
with with yourself, who has easily repped Winnipeg from time, and then a new joint named YSN Fab.
That's right.
How did this collab come about?
Yo, it was really, I knew who he was. I was familiar with his music.
Hmm.
I like some things I heard, and I wouldn't have mind working with him, but my manager really was like, Wayne was like, yo, you need to connect with him and do something. I think it's a good look. So I reached out, and he was down to do the record, and I told him my ideas and what I was trying to do. And with this record, because my first solo project, long story short, had Big Dreamer, and at the time that was
Right.
like the record that got me all the recognition, and I basically used that as my business card. It opened a lot of doors for me.
Yeah, yeah,
Um, Even years past it, when
yeah.
that EP got old, that song just stood uh, stood through time. So I was like, you know what? Let's go full circle, and I'm gonna use the same title, but I'm gonna hit it from a different angle, you know.
I like
And
what
I
you
I
do, man.
reached out to him, and keep in mind, I don't know much about the kid. I
Right.
hear the music, but I
Yeah.
don't know him on a personal level. So
Yeah.
it was kind of like I ran the idea by him, and he actually came up with the hook. And when I heard the hook, and he was like, had a man up in the house, but I ain't never had no real father.
Yeah.
I was like, yo, that just hit me in the
Yeah.
torso. You know
Whew.
what I mean? I was like, it struck a different chord, and I was like, yo, this dude is being so real right now, being so vulnerable on the track. And I was like, man, besides how hard the beat was, I was like, I just got to do this justice. At the foundation, I'm an MC, and this is competitive, but you know, I got to do it justice because he just did it with the hook alone. We didn't even get to the bars yet.
Yeah,
So,
man.
so at the same time, I wanted to be obviously 200% authentic. So I had to tweak the hook. He gave you his truth. I had to give you mine.
Yeah.
And I couldn't front because, although it was me and my mother for the majority of my life growing up, my father was always a presence in my life as well. He didn't
Yep.
live with me, but
Yep.
he was always a presence. So I flipped it and was like, had a man up in the house, but I longed for my real father because eventually, my mother, she got married in the apartment building that I grew up in pretty much from the time I was 2 till I was 18 years old in Central. And
Yeah.
and she got married in that same apartment 16 years later.
Oh,
So
it's crazy.
so I just spoke my truth and just dove into conversations that we've had and shared with people at times some of the advice that she'd give me, growing
Yeah.
up being a single mom and at times being the mom and the dad for me, you know. So yeah, that's how it came about, man, and I'm so proud of that track. That track is so real on so many levels and so many people, like we were talking about before this um this interview started. People can relate to it, man, you know.
Yes, completely. Apart from the fact it's just a straight up fire joint, okay? Just
Yeah.
off top.
Thank
But man, it like hits. I was telling Len just before we hopped on that like a lot of people can relate with that, man. A lot of people can relate with that. And I think that's the strength of that joint. Apart from the fact that it's a live joint, the fact
you.
that you can, oh man, it's just so relatable. Honestly, speaks for so many of us.
Yeah, man. I mean, at my listening party, just, you know, segueing through the records as I was letting people take them in, I kind of had to just skip by before I got emotional talking
Yeah,
about the track
man.
because the track is so real. My bars, everything I said, it was like, it was effortless because really I was just talking my life. I wasn't really trying to, go out of my way to be clever. I'm sure there's some clever bars in there, but really I was just speaking from the heart, you know.
Yeah, man. I could tell. You can feel it on that track. And
Yeah.
and it definitely comes across on that track. I can't front, man. After the first hook, goose pimples, no lie.
Hook is just,
Sheesh.
yeah, it is what it is, man. That's just reenacting life and putting it on a track.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. Now the record, it comes out the 30th, right? Nothing for granted?
Friday, June 30th, nothing for granted on all streaming platforms. Cop it, take it in. You're gonna love it.
And we are going to be promoting this new release with some appearances.
That's what's up. Yeah.
Tell us
This
about it.
week, this week I'll be in Toronto on Queen Street at the Rivoli.
Hey,
Um,
Rivoli,
you
what?
know, it's gonna be live. I'm gonna be there with, the King of Queen Street himself, Mindbender,
My
and,
bender.
and the legendary MC Collision, Tough
Yeah.
Dumpling. Yo, it's gonna be crazy. And then I'm gonna shoot out to Ottawa for the weekend and do a show. And there'll be a few other things going on out, you know, out east while I'm out there. But yeah, it's going down. I'm just starting well, I'm not starting the promo, but as the album drops, it's just gonna keep going.
Exactly, exactly. So, all the homies out in the dot, man, go and
Reach
check it
out.
out. Yeah, go and check it out, man. Trust this album should be heard live. And can I just say one reason why I think this project really resonates is because you can hear this record being performed live,
Definitely.
and
Definitely.
that's key because if you can hear the record being performed live, that is impetus for you to want to hear the record live
No doubt. No
like
doubt.
that, like that. Well, yo, man, man, always appreciate you in the lounge space. The album, Nothing for Granted, fire, flames, Rakakakaka, thunder and lightning, don't front, don't sleep. Len Bowen, he's gonna be out in the dot. He's gonna be out in Ottawa. What are the dates for Toronto and Ottawa? Just for folks who don't know.
Toronto, June 28th, Ottawa, June 30th.
Word
And thank
up,
you
word
for
up.
having me.
Oh,
Salute
anytime, man.
always.
You know it's open door policy for you, dog. And thank you very much for Thursday. It was super, super dope. I loved being able to listen to the album front to back in that venue. It just made the album that much sweeter, man.
Or
And
yeah,
then when you get back, I should probably just say this offline, but I wanna throw something your way, get your thoughts on an idea that I have to help promote this.
for sure, for
All
sure.
right. Yo, Len Bowen, Nothing for Granted, June 30th. Make sure you check him out on all socials, right? You're on all socials.
Everything, the
There you go.
gram, Facebook,
Like that.
everything, Twitter. I'm there.
And
Len
don't
Bowen.
just and don't just stream this record. Would the record be able for physical media as well?
Eventually, yes.
Okay.
There we're actually gonna take it way back. There's gonna be cassettes. um,
Hey, there you go.
You know,
Hell yeah.
try to do some CDs and maybe at some point even vinyl. But there will be cassettes
You
for
could
the
just drop the
collectors.
cassettes. You could just drop the cassettes and watch that shit sell. So let me just point that out again, just so that we're clear. We we love music. Music makes our lives go around. So in order for us to continue to love and enjoy music, the artists that make that music that we love and enjoy have to be able to make that music. So by all means, please stream Nothing for Granted 9 million times over. But when
Please,
physical
please,
media becomes available, please support.
please. Don't
And
miss out on this one, everybody. This one
it's a
is
it's a dope record, y'all. Trust.
heavy.
All right, man. Salute.
Salute.
Kill it out in the East, y'all.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Peace.